Meet again with MOVINEMA. Have a good time and enjoy watching. The movie starts and we see 4 people lying on the ground riddled with bullets. We hear the voice of Andromache the Scythian Andy saying how tired she is of all this. The scene then changes backwards and we see Andy meeting one of her partners Booker in Morocco. They join their other partners Joe and Nikki. The 4 of them are immortal assassins who have lived for centuries. They are so devoted to staying hidden that Andy must discreetly erase a picture that a group of women took that she is seen in. They are set to meet with an ex-CIA operative, James Copley, about whom Booker says that the man has been freelancing different kinds of jobs to their kinds. Andy at first is reluctant to take this job because she thinks that the world is not worth saving anymore. Their longtime friends Joe and Nikki go on to convince her to at least meet with James and see what he has to offer. They then go on to have a meeting with the man, and Andy and Booker talk to James in a cafe, while Nick and Joe are sitting in the hotel window with a sniper just to make sure nothing goes wrong. James Copley goes on to explain the whole scenario to them, telling them how they can make a difference. Andy does not like the idea at first but ends up saying yes to the job. James goes on to tell them that he left the CIA when his wife got sick, but she died later, and despite that he has not been able to convince himself to go back to the CIA. The team accepts the mission and is flown to South Sudan. They look around the area to take a quick scan of everything around them. That night, they make their way to the base, put down the guards, and get inside the bunker. When they get in there, they see that there are no hostages whatsoever, and he looks around and sees cameras all around. This is when the 4 realize that they have been totally set up. As they look around, many soldiers show up and start raining down bullets on these 4. The soldiers cut them all with bullets. All 4 lay bleeding until their strength allowed them to push the bullet out and heal quickly. The soldiers make the mistake of turning their backs on them, thinking that they're dead, but the bodies heal very quickly. The militia is surprised but have little time to react further as the team starts killing them, with Andy wielding her axe against the mercs. We then go on to see James Copley watching the whole thing on his screen. They spot a camera and figure that Copley has set it up to expose their secret. Andy destroys the camera and the 4 escape and resolve to stick together to find Copley. The next thing we see, they're on a train and the 4 now go on to discuss their next move. Andy says that the task is simple. They have to find and kill Copley, as he now has the evidence that they can come back to life. He has seen it with his very own eyes and he might have a recorded video of it as well. The scene then changes to Afghanistan and we go on to see that a team of US Marines head into a base to rescue women who are being held captive by a terrorist leader. Niall Freeman leads the team in and one of the women directs her to the target. Niall and her partners head in and shoot at the target. She tries to stop his bleeding to take him in alive, but he grabs a knife and slashes her throat. As this happens, the 4 assassins experience the same vision of Niall together, realizing that there's another like them that is out there. They change course and had to find her. Andy is again annoyed at them changing their course because the first thing that she wants to do is to find Copley and finish him off. But the group convinces her that they should find the woman named Niall and take her in before she disappears. In the medic tent, Niall's neck wound has completely healed. Back of the military base, Niall is told by the other soldiers that she does not even have a scar on her neck anymore. The scene then changes to London, where we go on to see Copley attending a presentation from her employer Merrick, who wants to have his company Merrick Pharmaceuticals potentially save millions of lives with her innovations. Merrick later on goes on to see Copley and they talk about the 4 assassins right away, and Copley shows Merrick the footage of the assassins after the mission, where Merrick sees the 4 of them coming back to life. The scene then changes to the military base in Afghanistan, where we go on to see that Niall is alienated by her teammates after the incident, after she's told she is to be sent to Germany for more tests, despite the fact that she does not want to go anywhere. Before she is taken, Andy intercepts her and knocks out the other soldiers before taking Niall with her. On the drive, she wakes up in a military vehicle that is being driven by Andy, who Niall tries to escape as she kicks the vehicle open from the back and drops herself down, but Andy stops the vehicle and steps out to shoot her in the heads. When Niall is up and about again, Andy goes on to tell her that if she wants answers, she's gonna have to get back in the car. They then make it to an air base where a pilot takes them to France. After landing in Paris, they make their way to an old church, where the rest of the group is waiting for them. They have dinner and try to get to know each other better. Niall is told what their team does and how their powers work, as well as the fact that they have lived through and even been involved in countless historical events. Andy explains that they can eventually die, but they never know when it could happen or how it does, as they lost a fellow immortal warrior centuries earlier after his wounds never healed. All of them then decide to call it a night and go to bed except Andy, who sits in her chair in the living room. At night, Niall wakes up startled after telling the guys she saw a vision of a woman trapped in an iron coffin in the middle of the sea, and the woman was screaming and thrashing about. Booker tells her that the woman was a former partner of theirs, Quinn, who was the first of the immortals that Andy found. They were great friends and partners until they were captured and continuously killed by people who thought they were inhuman. They were then caught as witches, and when the townsfolk tried to hang them, they kept coming back to life, and this just confirmed the suspicions of the people of the town. They then started thinking of other ways to get rid of them. They were then separated as Quinn was forced into the iron coffin and thrown into the sea, where she remained trapped for 500 years, doomed to continue drowning with no chance of escape. And Niall was able to feel all of her pain. As the two talk, they go on to hear soldiers approaching outside the church and realize that James Copley must have found out where they've been hiding. It turns out the hideout is under attack at the hands of some mercs working for Merrick. Booker is incapacitated with a grenade and his wounds take longer to heal. While Joe and Nikki are captured as they wake up in a van surrounded by soldiers, they go on to taunt the two for being gay and do not even let them have a kiss. Andy finds some of the men and kills them before she escapes with Niall and Booker. She's wounded and finds that she's taking longer to heal. They are taken to Merrick, who goes on to tell them that he's going to conduct many experiments on them, adding that he does not give a crap about how much pain Nikki and Joe might go through. All he needs is results. Joe then goes on to headbutt him. He retaliates by trying to see proof of their immortality by repeatedly stabbing Joe. Merrick has Joe and Nikki taken to the lab while still demanding that the other immortals be found. On the other hand, Andy, Niall and Booker stop at an abandoned mine where some of their belongings are. Andy fears that they may be tracked after she was wounded by one of the men back at the hideout. Andy goes to a nearby pharmacy to have her wound tended to. Later, as they proceed to carry on their mission, Niall decides to back out and spend whatever time she has left with her family, and Andy lets her go. However, Niall later finds a gun clip in the trunk of the car, realizing Booker intentionally gave Andy an empty gun. Andy and Booker tracked down Copley and move in to get him, but Booker reveals his alliance with Copley and shoots Andy in the back. He justifies his betrayal by saying that Merrick may have found a way to end their immortality so that they can die peacefully. Booker then notices that Andy is still not healing as quick as she was. Copley tells Merrick that he does not think Andy is going to survive the tests because she's not healing anymore, but Merrick says he does not care. James Copley again goes to Merrick and tells him that he does not think Andy is immortal anymore, and if she does not survive this testing, it will mean murder, and he does not support murder at all. Niall finds Copley and forces him to help her rescue the others, but he is more than willing after seeing what kind of man Merrick really is. Copley had been gathering information on the exploits and heroics that the immortals have performed throughout the centuries. They make it to Merrick's building and kill his men before freeing the immortals. Instead of leaving, Andy opts to stop Merrick as he wants to prevent him from hunting them any further. After killing another slew of mercenaries, Merrick finds Andy and Niall. After he attacks, Andy jams her axe into his neck, and Niall tackles him out the window and they both land on a car. Niall heals up while Merrick is a dead, bloody mess. The team then leaves together and Andy's wounds eventually heal. All of them then turn their attention to Booker, who had betrayed them, The immortals force Booker into a century-long exile for his betrayal, and he bids them farewell. The others decide to continue working with Copley as long as he can help them stay hidden. 6 months later in Paris, a depressed and drunken Booker is astonished to find Quinn in his apartment, and with that the movie comes to an end. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more content, and hit the like button to help us out. Also, leave a comment if you want us to review your favorite movie. Until next time, take care.